Why the heck are we so intent on sharing? Now, is this something new? Is sharing new? Sharing is not new. You know how old sharing is? Sharing is this old. This is the skull of proconsul. Proconsul is an ape who was the ancestor of the humans, the chimpanzees, and the gorillas. These are the tree of hominids on the family tree. And we know, because each of these species are social, in other words, they share what they know with each other. They share their behaviors, they share their lives with each other. We know that this species was social. Now, we share with each other. We share our behaviors, we share our lives with each other so that we can all live better. I can tell you, hey, don't go over there, there's a tiger. Or, hey, these plants are really good to eat. I can tell you all of these things. And we share in very specifically defined ways. Now, about 15 years ago, an anthropologist named Robin Dunbar took a look at the three species that share, the chimpanzees, the gorillas, and the human beings, and took a look at the groups they share with, in other words, how big their tribes are. And the thing that he learned in all of this was that gorillas, who have the smallest brains, share in tribe sizes of about 20 people. Chimpanzees, who have bigger brains, share in tribe sizes of about 35 people. Human beings who have very big brains can share in tribe sizes of about 150 people. And if you go all the way back in prehistory, the size of tribes in humanity all throughout all documented time is about 150. When they get to above 150, they tend to break apart into two separate tribes. Now, why is this? It's because in every one of our heads, since we've been human, which is, a couple 100,000 years, we've had 150 little people running around inside our heads. I'll come to those, how we know we have those 150 people in our heads in a second. But those 150 people are the people that you're constantly sharing with. They're the people who are in your community. Now, community these days is very different than community 10,000 or 100,000 years ago, but we still have them. Now, here I come to how you can tell you have 150 people. Okay, so you're sitting and you're watching the television, and you see a really funny commercial, a commercial that makes you drop out of your seat because it's so funny. We've all seen commercials like that. And you watch the commercial, and the moment the commercial is over, the next thing you think is, my mate John has to see it. My mate Nick has to see it. That next moment, you immediately know who you're going to share it with. You know why? Because you have a little copy of that person running around in your head. And that little person inside of your head, every time you see him, you know that when you find something in the world, you can filter it against the people in your head and you're going to forward it along. And everything we're doing these days, think about email that comes in when you get a joke in your email or a really interesting picture or a really interesting article, and you immediately know that you have to pass it along to some friends. We're doing this all the time because this is a basic part of who we are. The 150 people that we have running around in our heads are actively engaged in sharing all of the time. And now, just now, with the giant sharing machinery that we have, all of culture has become this massive moment of sharing. And it pays no attention to who owns what. It pays no attention to whether Sony owns something, or whether BMG owns something, or whether Warner Music owns something, or whether Fox owns something. It pays no attention to that. The only thing it wants to do is to share and share and share and share. And the interesting thing we've learned now is that the more something is shared, the more valuable it becomes. 20 years ago, the less something was shared, the more valuable it was. Now it's exactly the opposite. Because we don't live in a scarcity of media anymore. We don't live in a culture of scarcity. We live in a culture of hyperabundance, of hyper-distribution. Now, the thing about this, the thing we're just starting to realize is that this doesn't just destroy the recording industry, it doesn't just destroy the film industry, at least as we've known them, but it also destroys radio and TV and newspapers and anything else that's founded on the idea of the scarcity of information. It isn't about that anymore. It's about all of us finding new ways to get what we want and share that as widely as possible. Because we're drowning in information. What's most important is what our friends are wanting to share with us. So, in all of these ways, we're more connected than any way we ever had been before. We're hyper-connected. And we use hyper-distribution to distribute these objects of culture to create our own meaning. We live in tribes, in groups, where we're constantly finding, filtering, and for these things to find our own meaning. And so this isn't just peer-to-peer technology when you hear about that, and you hear about someone moaning about the dangers of peer-to-peer technology. What we actually live in now is a peer-to-peer civilization. Now, by the early part of this century,